My friend, have you been to a place where you were down and out, you were in a dark place, but then something happened, something shifted, and all of a sudden you found yourself in the place of beauty? Something happened and you were feeling like so amazing about yourself. Maybe you fell in love. Maybe you had a child. Maybe you just had this beautiful creative moment where something just came together. Maybe you made something happen, right? Maybe you really just helped someone and you just saw them like just blossom, right? Those moments of beauty, those moments are when we are rewarded for keeping our hopes up, right? Where we are rewarded because it's so easy to lose hope when you're going through struggle, when you're in a place of strife. And well, us survivors, we have so much in common in the struggles that we share, with feeling alone, with feeling like nobody gets you, with feeling like you're just trying to get by, you're just trying to get through the day, let alone like dream about something else. When we are haunted by nightmares, when we are drowning in shame. That's sometimes the day-to-day reality that we face. And as we know, the research tells us that 7 out of 10 people go through a major traumatic event at least once in their life. So that's all of us. That's our culture. That's where we live in. I know that people don't want to think about that. And yet I think that it's such a relief. For me, it was a relief to know that, listen, I'm not alone. We are not alone. We're in this together. And not only do we share the struggles, the difficulties, the same challenges that come up in our face daily, but we also are facing and harboring the same hopes. We share the same hopes for a better life, for a greater life. And just for us, we have to work that much harder to keep those hopes up. Isn't it true that when you've been through trauma, when you've been touched by something that is profoundly hurtful, it is hard, isn't it? It is hard to keep your hopes up. And yet those hopes run deep. And those hopes are strong. And that's what unites us, my friend. That is what brings us together. That's what is going to hold us in good stead for living what I call a greater life. A life of happiness. A life of feeling that you belong. A life of feeling like you're in your own place, where you can express yourself in a way that makes sense for you. Where you feel love and you're giving the best of yourself every single day. That's our power to be happy. My friend, this is Joe Bakhmutsky, and I'm here to talk to you today about the big 5 hopes, universal hopes that I believe that we all share, that we all have in common. And the first one, I'm going to talk about it, by the way. in the context of some of these things are going to be really obvious, and some of them maybe you haven't ever thought about it in that particular way. But even the ones that might seem obvious are the ones that sometimes are the most difficult to kind of hold on to as we go through life. So I'm going to talk about that as well. And the first universal hope that we all harbor, especially those of us like you and me who've been touched by trauma. And it is a difficult one, right? Because when we go to a place of struggle, when that's been sometimes the dominant kind of narrative of your life, and you're in a dark place, what it often feels like is that nothing will ever change. That's where we can talk about sometimes about losing hope, isn't it? Well, I believe that the hope that we all have running just deep inside of us is that hope that things can change. It's the hope that things are able to somehow, against all the odds perhaps, but somehow be different. You know, having that hope is, it was something that I talked about with my grandmother, who is now 97 years old. And I remember talking to her when the pandemic started. And she's always been a doctor her whole life. And I said, listen, what do you think about all this virus? And she told me about how when she was a medical student, this is like back in the 30s or 40s when Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union. When she was a medical student, and there was this huge epidemic of typhus, which killed millions of people. I didn't know it was a thing. I didn't know it existed. And so my grandma was sent as a medical student to this like remote mountain village, and she didn't have any supplies. I don't think she knew what she was doing, but she was just told to, look after the people. And my grandma just did her best, caring for people who were sick or sometimes dying. And she herself got sick with typhus and nearly died. And, there was tough times when, there was hardly any food to go by, when, you couldn't leave the village because there was, Red Army guards with a shoot on sight policy, right? If you tried to leave, because that was the quarantine rules back then, right? How crazy is that? And I was just listening to all of that, like Grandma was telling me about, and I said, listen, how did you guys get through this? Or this sounds insane, And she said, you know what? We had hope. We had hope that one day, somehow, things are going to be different. We had hope that one day things are going to change. And that just struck me, that sometimes that hope is all you have when you maybe have had everything else taken away from you. You have no guarantees about your future. You cannot think that far ahead. You're struggling with the day-to-day survival. And yet we can harbor that hope that somehow, somewhere, things are going to be different. Something is going to just shift. Something is going to change for the better. I want you to think of an example in your life when things were going wrong, things were tough, and something lifted you up, something helped you. Maybe it took a long time. Maybe it was someone who said the kind word. Maybe just circumstances changed. Maybe you felt different. Maybe you were striving for something and it came true. So often we forget the times when things have changed in a powerful way. I want you to give that gift to yourself today of remembering that time for you. This, my friend, is the proof. It's proof, isn't it? It's proof that things can and do change for all of us. Even when we've been through tough times, as I'm sure you have, many, many times. And maybe you're going through a time in your life right now when you're struggling. I want you to know, my friend, things can and do change for the better. They do. They inevitably do, because if nothing stays the same, we know that that's kind of life. Everything shifts. The good things sometimes change as well. But it's also vital to know that the difficult times, we go out of them as well. If we are only able to keep our hopes up, keep our hopes, not because we have guarantees, but because we want to be able to hold on to something. It's a choice, isn't it? Hope is a choice to hold on and keep going. Hold on and keep going, my friend. Good change is going to come. I promise you that. The conversation with my grandma inspired me to write this book, Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in the challenging world of today. And if you want to find out more about it, check it out. You can find it on any online store, but you can also find it on my website with some really cool gifts. If you go to powertobehappy.com/book. That's powertobehappy.com/book. So that, my friend, is the first hope that I want to talk to you. First of what I believe are the 5 universal hopes that we have. The very first one is we hope that things can change, that they do change, even when things are at our lowest. But we all want to believe that things can and do change. The other hope that we have, as all those who have been touched by trauma, we have the hope that our wounds can and do heal. Even as we sometimes wish they were gone and we try to ignore them. I've done that. Even when we sometimes wish they weren't there, even if sometimes we feel like we've moved on, and maybe we haven't always done that. I don't know if that's ever happened to you, but I feel like sometimes putting aside the pain does not make it go away. And sometimes living in pain, in the hurt, that's tough as well. Especially when we feel like there's no way out. It's always going to be the same. But I'm here to tell you, after my own experience of healing from trauma, that wounds can and do heal when we go after them, when we proactively seek healing on our own terms. For most of my life, I had no idea that there was a possibility. And I didn't give much thought to my own wounds. Going through rape as a child, moving countries, being not able to have sex and being alone, going through a really painful breakup, and never realizing that all of my mental health struggles were the result of trauma and so many other nasty things that happen in life, right? That can be helped. I'm not here to talk about how we can prevent some of those awful things from taking place. But I'm here to talk about the possibility of healing. Because I didn't know that. I thought for so many years, I thought like this, I didn't see a way out. I didn't know what to do. I didn't realize how vital it is to seek like good therapy. I don't know whether you've done therapy, and maybe you've done therapy that wasn't quite right for you. I have a lot of friends who haven't had the greatest experience with that. And sometimes that happens because, maybe the person wasn't right for you. Or maybe their skill set lied in a different area. It wasn't, to do with trauma and healing from that. Whatever the case might be, I think good therapy, and there are so many different therapies, amazing therapies, that by the way you can read about, or in my healing space guide that you can get for free on my website. I've just summarized, the interviews that I've had with some of the experts that really work in this field of healing from trauma, and summarize their views and some of my own experiences and experiences of other people who've been through it. I kind of summarized it in just this free guidebook that you can get on powertobehappy.com to learn about the different types of different healing modalities, different types of therapies, different types of ways of healing, essentially, that you can find to support you on your journey. Now, it's always, as you know, nothing in life is this instant fix. When they say that time heals all, I really believe that to be true. Time does heal all. When we really put ourselves in the place of healing. When we put ourselves into seeking the right person, the right people to support you, seeking good therapy, seeking people who get what it's like, who are going to be your champions. I found that, and I wish that for you, my friend, because I think that makes a world of difference. That makes all the difference in the world, because all of a sudden you get to feel different. You get to be different. You get to go out and just feel in such a dramatically different way. It's another, it's a totally different reality when you are able to find that. So I want you to read up on this and to really hold in your heart the possibility of healing. I'm here to tell you as a survivor that our wounds can and do heal when we open ourselves to the possibility. When we take the time to be in a space where healing can happen. When you seek the right person to help and support you along the way. When you can connect with people who are like you and I, who've been through it. Because when you can see them on their journey, right? I feel I'm so much further ahead than I've ever been. I feel like I wish there was a younger part of me who was able to look at me now and say, listen, it's real. It's real. It's possible. How good is that, my friend? This is our hope. That wounds can and do heal, my friend. Hold that hope in your heart today. The third hope, my friend, that I want to speak to today is that we want people to see you at your best. Isn't it? Because sometimes we go through life and we are not always, do the things that we are proud of. Or we sometimes just kind of do things that, we wish could be undone. Or like things that, even small things that, we're not proud of sometimes. I don't know if that's you, but, I feel sometimes I overreact. Sometimes I say things I didn't mean to say. Sometimes I feel stupid for, not knowing something. Sometimes I feel that I didn't handle the situation the way that I wanted. Sometimes I feel I should be much further along than where I am. And I think that's life. And even though we know this intellectually, I think we all have that hope of wanting to be seen for how we want to be seen. Isn't that true? Like, we want to leave a legacy, whether that's with a friend, whether that's with your child, whether that's, in your community, whether that's just with people that you around and you interact with. We want them to see and remember us in a good way. Like, we want that kind of positive legacy. We want them to see us at our best. And I think that's a hope that we have also so much influence over. Now, of course, we don't control how people see you or, like how they might judge you or how they might, interact with you in the future or how they might think of you. We don't know that. But what we can do is we can always face the day trying our best, giving our absolute best. And I don't think that this is about other people. I think it's a very selfish, in a positive way, intention. Because when you are able to give the best of yourself, and truly just whatever that means for you, right? Because deep inside, you know what showing up at your best really is. What's giving your best is for you. When you can really give your best, what that means really showing up in your work and really just trying to solve problems. Whether that's sitting down with the one person you care about and really taking the time to listen. To really listen. Like, what are they really trying to tell you? And not give them advice as I would want to do right away. Right? Giving your best, we know intuitively what that looks like. And having that intention to give our best puts you in a place where you can look back and reflect upon the day. Whether you do that before you go to sleep, or whether you do it as I do in the morning, where I reflect on the day before and think of the things that I try to do my best in, things that I feel I accomplished, not because there's some huge achievements, but because I gave it my best. And what happens is when you really give your best, you eliminate regret. Right? Isn't that funny how we can completely put aside regret when we are able to show up at our best, because you instantly give proof that you've done everything that you can to the best of your ability. You couldn't do anything more. You really tried. Now, you could also look at your life and say that that's just kind of how things happen. Like, you kind of gave your best, but having that intention and being like thoughtful and saying, you know what, this is how like I want to show up today, and putting a reminder for yourself somewhere. You know, I really want to show up and with this person and be at my best. I really want to, you know, go to this meeting and be at my best. I really want to, you know, show up with my kids and just have fun with them and just really just give everything, right? That's what matters. That means that you've consciously given that intention, you decided. And that means that you've really put all of that effort, all of that energy, all of that presence of mind, of soul, whatever you believe in, and say, I've done it. I could not do anything more. I'm proud of myself. I want you to be proud of yourself. Because maybe you haven't always felt this way about you. Have you always felt proud about you? Most of the time I felt ashamed of myself. For things that other people have done to me. Or ashamed of just being who I am. But tell you what, I'm not ashamed anymore. I'm not. I'm honestly proud. Proud because I've been able to deal and live with the challenges. I no longer hide away from them. I wear them proudly. And I show up at my best. Now, my best might be what other people laugh at or scoff at or not even notice. Maybe that's true. But I know that I'm giving my best. I want that for you, my friend. To show up at your best. And that is how people will see you. That is the hope that then we can have. That people will see you and remember you and recognize you at your best. Maybe not everyone, maybe not every single time, but overall people will see you for who you truly are. At your best, giving, striving for more. That's the third hope. Hope number 4, and this, my friend, is a weird one because most people never think about hope in these terms. And that is the hope, this is a weird one, but I'll tell you all about it. It is the hope that actions have consequences. we all, when we interact with other people, when we live our life daily, deep inside, we are hoping that actions have consequences. We are hoping that our efforts are rewarded. We hope that, if I'm going to invest my time and energy into doing these tasks, if I'm going to put myself out there and go after my dream, if I'm going to go out and take care of this person, I hope that they will appreciate it. I hope this dream will come true. I hope this task will feel fulfilling, and I'm going to have fun, right? And things are going to turn for me, right? These are the positive consequences that we hope for. But also negative in a way that we feel like if someone hurt me, I hope that there is justice for that person. I hope that they're not able to hurt another person in a similar way. So I think deep inside we have that hope that actions have consequences. And what better way to put that to life than to double down, to really focus on our own actions, to be really mindful of what is that we are doing towards the consequences that we want to have. I have big dreams. I have dreams about bringing together a worldwide community of survivors to be there for each other, to give our best, to grow into the life that we want, and to heal together. I have hopes of bringing them together through my play that I'm writing about the internal experience of living with trauma and finding hope. I do that with my book, Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in the challenging world of today. That's why I'm also doing a podcast. That's why I'm talking to you today. That's why I'm, want to do speaking and create a community, because I have this big dream. And I'm striving hard, and it doesn't always go to plan. And this dream is probably beyond what I can accomplish in my lifetime even. And I need to learn a lot of skills and abilities along the way that I need to kind of pick up on. But that's the demand. That's the reality of what needs to happen. That's what I have to make true. That's why I have to follow up on the actions and really make sure I do them well, to really have that hope and hold on to the hope that those consequences will come. Maybe not all of them will come out the way that I intended it to or was hoping to. Maybe it will come out different. Maybe it will come out better than I could ever imagine. And that's a fascinating way to look at it, isn't it? If you look at a situation that might be coming up, maybe it's as a result of an interaction you're going to have with someone. Maybe you have a meeting. Maybe you are catching up with someone. Maybe there's something that you got to do in your life, in your work, in your community, and you're just not sure which way it's going to go. I would invite you to think about it from a perspective of, what if things turn out better than I could ever imagine? What if you really take that situation, whatever that is? Maybe there's something coming up for you today or tomorrow or in the next week, something that you're not really sure about. And you kind of, I don't know how this is going to go. What if you look at it now from a perspective of, what if things turn out better than I could ever imagine? What would it look like? What would happen? How would I feel as a result of that? what would it be like if things turned out better than I could even imagine? You know? That's powerful because that puts you in a different frame of mind. That puts you in a different feeling. That means you're going to approach it also in a different way. That's the hope, my friend. That actions have consequences that we intend or don't intend, but they're going to be work out in a way that things should. That's our hope. The last hope, number 5, that we all harbor is hope that you will never be alone. I know that's can be a difficult thing to think about. If you might be finding yourself alone right now, I know there's certainly been many times in my life where I kind of felt alone. Particularly, I felt alone because I, for the longest time, didn't really believe that I could find someone that I can fall in love with, you know? And yet I had that hope that I deserve it. It's been after my huge breakup that after spending more than 5 years with this person, and I was so petrified of being alone because I was afraid of not being able to have sex. That was the case for a while. I was afraid that I was just so ashamed of myself. I just felt so awful about who I was. I couldn't even look myself in the mirror. I see myself as, just saw myself as ugly and worthless. Maybe I didn't even put it in those terms, but I just didn't see myself in a positive light whatsoever. And yet I remember there was this moment when I was driving from work late at night. And there was this massive road, like it was like 3 or 4 lanes on each side, and it was so late, it was like a weeknight, there was no one around. And I remember I was just driving along and I stopped at the red lights. I remember at that moment I felt so angry and frustrated. I was just thinking, like, why is it happening to me? Like, why did she leave me? I don't deserve to go through this. And I stopped at the lights and I saw the red light. And I just felt this strong feeling that this is never, ever gonna happen to me again. Never. No one will ever do this to me again. I deserve to be loved. I deserve to give love and to be loved in return. I didn't know when, I didn't know how, I had no idea, but I was harboring that hope that one day I can do that. And for years I spent the next several years of my life just trying to figure it out, trying to feel good about myself again. I spent a crazy amount of time living on my own and just doing self-help work and and personal growth, because I didn't know that there was any other way. And like I kept going. I kept trying to do just tiny things every single day. Like I would stand in front of a mirror, like naked, you know, and I would say things like, "You're beautiful. You are sexy. You deserve to be loved." And over time, I kind of started to believe it, you know? And it's made the moment of meeting my true love that much more special. Because I spent so many years just hoping for it, just trying my best every single day, just hoping that things can change, just hoping that, you know, some wounds can heal, just hoping that maybe I will be seen at my best, hoping that my actions have consequences. I was hoping for that, and finding my true love has been incredible and still is. We've been together for 12 years now, and it's been life-changing. But I always had hope. Even when I had no idea how to find love, I always had hope that I can be loved. One day, I can be loved. Hope that I will not be alone forever. That's the hope that we hold together, my friend. Hope that we can be loved. That we deserve to be loved. That we deserve to give love and be loved in return. Thank you for being here. If you want to find more about hope, to find more ways to keep your hopes up in a difficult time, to build hope towards your dreams and desires, and to share hope with others, grab my book. It's called Finding Hope in Times of Uncertainty, a guide to thriving in a challenging world of today. And you can grab this book at powertobehappy.com/book, or you can go to Power to Be Happy and just click on the book link, and I'll tell you more all about it right there. Grab a copy for you, my friend. Help you keep your hopes up. Live the life that you truly deserve. Not tomorrow, right now. And remember that you have the power to be happy, to see greater clarity in everything that you do, to show up at your best every single day and proving that you're enough, and to hold on to hope that things can and do change for the better.